Hello everyone and welcome back to Barney's Backyard. I'm Barney and today we are back in the kitchen. Now, as promised last week, we are going to be showing you how we prepare some of the harvest from our garden. More specifically, what to do if your harvest was bountiful and you suddenly ended up with a lot of tomatoes. Now we're going to show you how to prepare these so you can keep enjoying the fruits of your labor as long as possible. So tomatoes are in season and they are by far our most favorite bounty to pick from the garden. We've been harvesting and eating them in a multitude of different ways for weeks. But there's just been so much coming of the vine that at one point we are faced with the fortunate problem of having to look for ways to preserve them and give them more shelf life. Now, in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 fantastic ways to prepare tomatoes so you can preserve and enjoy them much later down the line as well. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is how to make the most amazing homemade sun-dried tomatoes. You're not going to believe how simple it is actually. All you need is one of your oven pans, tomatoes that you're going to use. You want to, of course, pick the ones that you want to use for this. You want to wash them before, you want to take out the greens. And yeah, they are ready to prepare. What we're going to do is we're going to cut all of them into about equal sizes. Now this is important because you want them to be ready and sun-dried at the same time. The little ones, I'm just going to split them in half. And then I'm going to cut everything else according to that size. Alright, so with our tray perfectly filled with our tomatoes, now we just need to season them a little bit. We're going to use a generous serving of salt, pepper, oregano, thyme, basil. Now heads up, you want to use all of these herbs, right? Because what we are trying to do here is to dry out the tomato, right? Sun-dried tomatoes. So if you use fresh herbs here, you would just add additional water content, additional moisture in there that you really don't want to do. Use dried herbs. And rosemary at the end. And finish it up with a little bit of good olive oil. Right, beautiful. Now, with that done, we are going to put this into the oven. You don't need to preheat it or anything. We're just gonna put it into the oven on about 65 to 70 degrees. That's it. And we leave it in there to 4 to 8 hours. It should be coming out looking like this. Now, as they are sun-dried tomatoes, you could just put these in a bowl and keep it in your fridge and they would be alright for weeks. But if you have a lot of these and you want to put them away for a longer time, you could also just put it into one of these little jars. Here we are. You just put them in this little bowl, and if you want to keep them for even longer, you should just fill it up with some extra olive oil to cover it all up. And it's ready. Next up, we are going to make the most amazing homemade tomato sauce. Now for this is also a simple recipe. You're just going to need a big pot and all our tomatoes dedicated for the sauce. Again, the same as before, just wash them, take out all the greens, make sure they are ready for preparation, and then just roughly chop them into the pot. Alright, with everything chopped here, it is now time to add a bit of salt. Don't be shy. And a little bit of water, about half a liter for this. We're going to put it up on the stove, start cooking it on a low heat. With our tomato sauce completely cooled down and reduced, it's time to sieve it and put it into our jugs and into our glasses where we will hold it. So I have here a colander with a little bit of a sieve inside to make sure there is no seeds or peel coming through. Alright, so with that we have our first bottle absolutely full. Now, as I said before, it's important to work very clean with this. If you've done everything right and there was no cross-contamination in the way, then you should be okay to hold this in your fridge for up to even a month or two. The third and final method of preserving tomatoes I'm going to show you guys today is pickling. Yep, you heard me right, pickling. Now, this method of preserving tomatoes is not as well spread as the first or the second on our list, but nevertheless it's a fantastic way to ensure yourself a sweet and sour treat for the upcoming months. So to make the dish we are going to first need to make our pickling liquid. I have here my bowl. I already have here some white wine vinegar. Into that I'm going to add some water, about double the amount of water, the vinegar, some salt, pepper, some sugar and some mustard seeds. With our liquid ready and everything dissolved, we are going to get our jar. Now, heads up, when you do this, it's important that you work with everything very clean. Freshly washed jar, freshly washed hand. Just make sure that there is no possibility of cross-contamination, that you bring in anything into here. This has to be clean. So you have your jar. Then we get our tomatoes that we've selected for this purpose. Now, you want to keep the tomatoes whole, make it better for the shelf life. Fill up your jar. We will also put in one shallot peeled in whole, one garlic peeled in whole, and we can shake it up with a little bit of cucumber that we just harvested from our garden, chopped up into rough pieces. Once a jar is completely filled up, we just line it up nicely and fill it up with our pickling liquid. Get some of the mustard seeds in there. And there it is. Pickled tomatoes. So here we are with our tomatoes 3 ways preserved. We have our sun-dries, we have our tomato sauce, and we have our pickles. Now guys, if you like the episode, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the bell icon so you get notified by whenever we upload a new episode. And with all that said, thank you very much for watching, take care, and see you the next time.